DreamCon 2022 has officially come to an end. It was in Austin, Texas this weekend, and there was a lot that went down during this weekend. My name is Y2 Shadows. This is typically different from my normal type videos that you guys see on the channel. So this is going to be kind of an overview and the review of DreamCon 2023 in itself. I have a couple bullet points that I've written down that I kind of want to go over. I am going off script. I don't have a script for this. I do have the bullet points though that I will try to hit and I will try to discuss. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's get straight into this and let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of DreamCon 2023. First, let us start off with the good. DreamCon 2023 had announced that from the prior year, DreamCon 2022, which I did attend as well. That was my first ever DreamCon 2022. DreamCon 2023, they went from 6,000 people in 2022 to 22,000 people in 2023. A 16K difference in the amount of people and scale, which is the reason why DreamCon had ultimately decided to make the move to Austin, Texas, instead of staying at the Arlington Esports Arena in Arlington, Texas. With that, there is a lot of challenges and difficulties of moving to a new location and dealing with the influx amount of people, the high volume of people. But one thing that had really stood out to me is that DreamCon did not feel like it was crowded. I was very worried that DreamCon was going to look like how Anime Expo did, where it was completely oversold. People are crowded together, bunched up like sardines. There's no real room to kind of walk around, navigate where to go. People aren't able to sit down and relax. You're gonna have a lot of panic attacks, anxiety attacks with the amount of people. And to my surprise, the Austin Convention Center, they did a fantastic job holding that amount of people, because I was able to freely get through people, no issues. I was able to move in and out. If they said 22,000, it didn't feel like 22,000. I would say, honestly, it felt maybe more like 16, 15K. But if there were still 22,000 people that did attend the entire time, it did not feel like it, because I did not feel overcrowded at all. Another positive note is the amount of panels that were available to be able to access by the con attendees. Lots of great panels to attend. You had some of the creators do their own meet and greets, like Tony Stadavoci, Lean Cuisine, Story Mode Bay, Cleo Thomas, Sumbros. They had their own meeting as well. Then you obviously you had the big panels like the crew battle between RDC and Sumbros. You had the All-Star Smash tournament, and then the All-Star Mario and the All-Star Mortal Kombat tournaments, where I believe in the Mortal Kombat tournament, Cleo Thomas ended up taking that one, and in the All-Star Battle Royal, the All-Star Smash Battle Royal, Leland and Mark as duos won their respective tournaments as well. All in all, and there's a bunch of other panels that we didn't even get to mention, like Story Mode Bay's panel. Studio Ghibli had their own workshop. From the Otaku Cabarets, Ecchi Exposed. There was just a ton of panels, ton of workshops, ton of information for people to go to. That was like one of the really, really big highlights of DreamCon positively that they did, was having those panels be available for all of the attendees to attend, even the guests and the industry people as well. A bunch of stuff to be able to do at DreamCon 2023. Another thing that was done really, really well was, as a creator, there was a lot of opportunity to be able to network, from the workshops to the panels themselves to all the attendees. There was 22,000 people there, a bunch of people being there as content creators, up and coming, just like myself, trying to get to where the guest and the industry people are. And there was a lot of opportunities for networking. It was that this is one of the few cons that I felt as a black creator. Even though I'll be honest, I have not been to other cons, so it is hard to, my experience is kind of skewed. But from what I have heard, it is very hard to really be able to market and network yourself at other cons compared to DreamCon. And that in itself is awesome. The fact that my fellow black creators like myself get to go around, you get to network, collab with other people, meet a bunch of new people, learn for like be able to speak with agents. And agents and financial advisors up there. It was a great feeling to be able to look at it and say that I have an opportunity to build my brand here. And this was something that I really appreciated. It was definitely something that was very, very good as well. Also, the nightlife. Very much, there was a lot of stuff to do in the nightlight. For example, that Friday night, if you did not go to the LAN party, which was LAN parties, they titled it as Grown and Sexy. If you were not able to attend that party, there was a host of other things to be able to do at night that you did not feel left out, be it by missing that party. DreamCon had their official after party that same night. There was also, I heard from a couple of friends that there was a Caribbean party as well that I was able to go to. There was also some other events I don't particularly know the names of off the top of my head, but there were other particular events that people were able to go to that you did not. Essentially, if you stayed in the house at night and didn't get to go out and party and have fun, that was more so on yourself. There was a lot to do this weekend. I did not at one point feel bored at all with the amount of things to do, and that's a good one. And then the last point I do want to hit here is the lounge areas. The lounge areas for the platinum members, which I did have a platinum pass. I did pay the $250 total to get the platinum pass. The platinum area, to be able to relax and get away from the entire scene, was a great idea. I believe I was told last year that when DreamCon, when they had labeled it as VIP and VIP Plus, they had certain areas for that last year. And in the Arlington Esports Arena, unfortunately, that area wasn't as big for me to really be able to confidently say that. I can't fully speak on that because it didn't seem that area was big enough to really be able to have like a good lounge area and everything. So for this year, when I was able to access the Platinum Lounge, me and a couple of friends, me and a couple of friends that had platinum passes, and also one of the guests there, Lena Cuisine, that was with us. We were able to access the Platinum Lounge, and we were able to relax, get away from it all, give our feet and bodies time to like decompress. We sat in there for a cool half hour. It was not packed out. There was stuff to do, from Jenga to playing Smash Bros to playing other games on the Switch, PlayStation, all that. There was just a lot of good getaway opportunities. So this was definitely something that if you were a platinum member, you for sure had the opportunity to enjoy being able to get away from all the stress and the toxicity, even though I don't feel like it was toxic a lot, but you got to decompress, which that's exactly what I feel that a lot of people definitely needed at this convention, especially as a first-time goers, especially people who might have high anxiety and aren't used to so many people. If you had a platinum badge, that was definitely something I could say that was useful to your advantage. Now let's get on to the bad. The bads, let's start off with the long lines. There were a lot of long lines to be able to get into a lot of the big events. And let me not even just say big events, some of these panels as well. A lot of these panels that have either known creators or like either the known creators or the people or the panels themselves. The people are really, really big, or they're trying to give out a bunch of information. These panels lines were very hard, like very long, very kind of complex to get in. There was a lot of issues with security and staff trying to get people in and out of panels, trying to get into these long these long lines. People were people just did not know how to handle the long lines at all. Some of the lines, even for example, for like the main stage events, some of those lines had like stretched for, I want to say, quite a bit of length throughout the convention center. There were a lot of issues with people dealing with the long lines, and that was something that was very issues as well. Another issue, this one doesn't just pertain to DreamCon. I believe that all cons kind of have this issue, but the overpriced food inside of the convention center. Last year at DreamCon 2022, I had spent a lot of money on smoothies and nachos and stuff up there. I know that just off of the food I spent there alone, I believe I probably spent anywhere between $100 and $150 just on that food. And I think I only got nachos like 3-4 times, and then I got the smoothies like 3-4 times as well, and like that totaled out, I believe that whole weekend during that time was like $100, anywhere from $100 to $150. This year wasn't anything really different. You had nachos, you had loaded nachos going up there for $16. People were buying tacos for like $12. Bowls of ramen and stuff were like $14-15 as well. Just like another thing, that's just like a con thing in general, that they just try to overprice the food that's there, especially for like when it's really not that good quality. But because it did, like, we're speaking of DreamCon, that is something that is like, it is a bad thing. It's something that all cons that I've been to, because I have been to the one other con that I've been to. I know that earlier I believe I said that I haven't, but like the one other con I did go to one earlier this year. It was called Anime Las Vegas, and Anime Las Vegas, they had the same issue as well with that. So this is just like more so a con issue in general, that like this is kind of needs to be solved from like the industry. But like loaded nachos that like aren't really made from like the highest quality, no way they should be $16. Let's be real. Another thing is the staff being uninformed about these events. There was a bunch of staff, when you tried to ask them questions about events, that the staffs were very clueless about things going on. For example, I tried to enter in, I entered in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament, and DreamCon, they had overwent their time for the crew battle, the RDC versus Sunbros battle. They had overwent their time, and the staff outside, they just knew that they just couldn't let anybody into the arena where all the games and stuff were. But nobody knew when our Smash tournament was supposed to start. Like, we were originally set to start at 4 o'clock on the dot in Texas time, and we didn't end up starting the Mario Kart tournament until damn near 5:30, 6 o'clock, because they had went over on time. And with them going over on time, a lot of attendees for that ended up not showing up, not showing up. So you had people getting disqualified. The gaming people, the gaming director was very upset that he tried to cram everything last minute, and they were not happy with how that was going. That in itself is also something I had a problem with. Was with them being cramped on time, they were forced, for that Mario Kart tournament, they were forced to put 4 people to one screen, and I had to do that as well, where I was playing split screen against a bunch of other people. I was expecting a full 12 race where everybody's on their own monitor and we're all racing against each other, and the top 4, top 3, top 2, however that goes, however many people in that continues to move on, and it was not that way. I was very upset because I felt like I won the first round and I lost the second round because I ended up playing a 1v1. This was more so like And like, I guess you like, I don't know if you can really blame DreamCon for that, but like I can blame them for like the time crunching, causing the gaming directors to like panic and essentially have to work overtime to be able to get this working and out of control. But that was something that that actually did ruin my mood for that Friday night. Was how the gaming tournament was handled, because I definitely feel like, me personally, I feel like I should have won that, especially if it was something that was going as like a normal thing. But that's like my own personal gripes from that as well. But the staff, they were very like uninformed. They didn't know when anything was going to end. They didn't know which line was which for the gaming tournaments. They were kind of like, yeah, like this line over here, they're just trying to get in and watch RDC in them, and this other line over here, I don't know what this is for. So they didn't know what to do, and that's something that DreamCon has to get better at. Is they do have to work together and get the staff to be kind of more in sync, more cohesion, on point, so that, and also they need to relay information to staff at like better, so that the staff, they know how to properly adjust, and they can get everybody into these events where they're scheduled and what they want to do. Another big problem is DreamCon itself. They did a very poor job of marketing the other panels. For a lot of the big panels, the big events like the RDC, like the RDC versus no, not RDC, but Mark versus Gideon for the creator battle, for the creator basketball league, and for them doing the dodgeballs, and then for the big tournaments and stuff like that, or any of the like the big creators doing their old panels. DreamCon went out of their way to promote those panels, but I felt that they could have done a way better job of promoting the small panels, because these panels make the con. Without these panels, you don't really have a con. You have essentially mortified of a clout meet and greet at that point. And I know that one of their goals was they wanted to create a space for black anime nerds, not even just anime nerds, but for gaming, pop culture, just like a safe space for black people to be able to express their creativity and have fun. And these panels make up the life of that. And for DreamCon to not really promote that was something that I would say was a huge missed opportunity and a problem, because more exposure to those panels will reach out and they will promote your brand even more. And it's just a two-way street where both handshaking each other would work. And I just felt that DreamCon did a very poor job of that. Another issue as well, I did not personally experience, but I did hear some people saying that people were going around being musty. That's not really a DreamCon problem. That's more of like an anime con problem itself, where this is like kind of a known thing. But still, they had people coming out the house stinking, and this is just on the attendees yourselves. Come on, that's very like basic hygiene should be practiced at all times. There's no reason you should be coming out the house stinking. I do understand Austin itself was very hot and that humidity was getting to people, which is why I carried my green towel, my signature green towel that you might see pictures of me in, carrying that around pretty much everywhere, because it was that hot. But come on, there's no reason to come out the house stinking like that, y'all. I didn't personally experience it, but I heard a lot of people complaining about it, so I wanted to address that in this as well. Badges not mattering day one was a huge problem for me. Last year, I had the regular GA badge, and I purposely this year wanted to get platinum or gold, because I wanted to be able to skip the lines. Last year, DreamCon, they made it apparent that how they wanted this to go is they had a separate line for gold and platinum. Gold and platinum people were in the front. They had assigned seating for gold and platinum. So if you pay for them, so last year it was called VIP and VIP Plus. So let me refer to it as that. But VIP and VIP Plus, they had assigned seating for those members. You got to skip the long lines for the big events. You got your own lounge and stuff as well. A lot of like good perks that mattered to me, to where I wanted to pay for the upgrade this year. And on day one, my badge not mattering that way at all was very awful. We had people that were trying to get into events, and RDC essentially, let me not say RDC, but DreamCon essentially said, first come first serve, and your platinum badge to get into this big event did not matter. It was just first come first serve. So if you were in a line early enough, you were able to get in, and that was something I had a huge problem with, because I paid $260, and for me to not be a priority, like to feel like a priority for some of these bigger events, that was something that I felt very disrespected by. And I could see why there are some people that were upset about paying that much money to not be able to do anything, because that on day one we could not get into anything at all. You kind of had to be first come first serve, so that was a huge issue for day one. And then the last thing was the DreamCon app crashing. DreamCon this year had decided to tell people to be able to, if you want to get into events, you have to register early in the app. And people weren't really fond of the idea, but they were rather accepting of it. They just understood, and they were like, okay, well, if it's not first come first serve or like priority lines, they understood going into the app and registering for a specific event. And you had the app crashing when people were registering events. People said that they had registered, and then they got told that they were unregistered from an event. So now people that felt that they were in line to be able to go into an event, now that didn't even happen. The worst thing about this is that the app ended up not even mattering later on in the following 2 days, day 2 and day 3. That registering portion didn't matter, because DreamCon essentially told everybody the app is having that issue, and we don't know who's all registered, and we're not going to tell our staff to bother the check, so this is just first come first serve. So having these app issues and then essentially pulling out and telling everybody, this doesn't matter anymore, now we're just going to be first come first serve, was a huge insult to people and a huge slap in the face, because some people felt that they were going to get a guaranteed spot to be able to go in and do what mattered to them, and they ended up not being able to get in because they got told later on, this is first come first serve, or even on day one when they did do this, they didn't even bother to check in the app, or they didn't have any tool to check into the app to see that they were registered. So very all around poor management when it came to when it came to how this went down. Let's get into the ugly now. In a now deleted tweet from DreamCon had quoted a tweet that, and I quote, the original tweet said, "Y'all have so many amazing panels. There's so much information to take in. Wish I had time for them all." DreamCon quotes the tweet and says, "We're happy you've enjoyed them. We hope everyone took the time to experience them. We encourage people to explore other areas of the con and not wait outside of events that are already at capacity." DreamCon, that was completely unacceptable. And this is where this is where your social media team, who, if this was a social media person that tweeted that, your PR team, they need to be definitely talked to or let go, because that's unacceptable. Or if this was like John or somebody from RDC, this is where you guys need to hire somebody for public relations to be able to do this, or hire a social media intern, because this was not the way to go about this. There are some people that paid all this money to specifically go and enjoy the big events. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just wanting to go to these big events at all and being able to enjoy that. But when you don't even promote the other panels and you're telling people to go to the other panels and not sit outside an already full event, that's just kind of a huge slap in the face. I understand that you wanted people to explore the con and like actually have fun, but there's nothing wrong with paying all that money to go see particular events and wait outside to see if you can get in, and to just essentially tell people that you're wasting your time here was a huge slap in the face. And that tweet should have never gotten sent at all. That was very awful, and that is something that will cause people to be turned off by the con, because when you come out and you tweet something like that, stuff like that, even deleted, stays on the internet forever. And there are going to be people who will go around and tell not only just their friends, but there are people in the media as well that will see this and will be turned off by it, by that like dismissiveness of people trying to get into these events. And that was not good at all. Another big problem itself was groupies. Now, going back to the point that I just made, where there isn't a problem for just wanting to go to specific events and just seeing your favorite creators, there's also a big there is a problem when, because you didn't see your favorite creators, because you knew that there was going to be a million people there, that you get online and you try to bash the con and you want the con to be canceled because you weren't able to see your favorite creators. There was this one TikTok girl, I believe after Saturday, the con wasn't finished yet, I believe this was after Saturday, where she had made a video essentially telling Artie, she not to dismiss her experience, because everybody has a different experience, and you do, like, there are things that people love and enjoy and hate about the con. I have my thoughts that I'll have at the end as well, talking about the con, my experience in a total. So absolutely, the con was not perfect, but when you go around telling people that RDC should be canceled, DreamCon should never happen again, and you want people like some bros to make their own convention, which not only would be a slap into the face of RDC, but also they would also have the same exact issues like all these other startup cons have, where with staffing, security regulations, all of that, expecting that to be different. That right there was just very disrespectful, and a lot of people I realized during the weekend were groupies. They just were there for their favorite creator, did not care how hell or high water it got done. Once that was done, they felt that they got their $250 worth. If you want to feel that way, fine, but when you don't get to meet your favorite creator and you use that as a bashing point to bash the con as a whole, then that's where it's a problem, because then you put on this false negative reputation for a con and it just trickles down, and social media has such a big influence that this will cause people to get turned off by it. And that's the last thing that a startup con wants to deal with, is any negative feedback like that. Any negative feedback because you didn't get to meet your favorite creator. There's opportunities after opportunities for people to be able to make their favorite creators, and that was just something that was really ugly, was seeing the amount of groupies there, because that caused a bunch of issues. These next one kind of go hand in hand, but the lack of security and staffing there and staff and volunteer staff causing attendees to just cut in and out of lines and access areas that they weren't able to access, that is a problem. Now, I understand DreamCon is going from 6K to 22K people. That is a lot. But when you sell out these amount of tickets and you put out this info and you start this rumor that there's gonna be 20K plus people there, and you actually confirm it, that you could actually confirm the number is even higher than 20K, it's 22K. You have to be able to put the proper staffing and security around all areas of the building, so that people can be advised on properly where to go, and so that security can stop people from being able to cut in line, hop on stages whenever, and like access anything that they wanted to do. That in itself is a problem. I get where this is where other people who have made videos about constructive criticism of the con, they definitely need to address it. It is only year 5 for them, but at some point there is a point where grace period stops, great people's graces are limited, and DreamCon has to understand, and they have to look at it, and they have to now understand, okay, do we need to keep trying to expand the con as a whole, or do we need to work on the product that we have right now and try to make that a lot better and safer for our attendees as a whole before we even worry about expanding? And that'll be a big question that I hope that RDC and all the DreamCon investors as a whole take a look at and kind of see where they are at and what they need to do to make the con better. The last 2 points that I kind of want to address is panels getting punished for not getting their full allotted time. I can do one in particular. There was a panel for Anime After Dark, and shout out to them people, by the way. I met them. Great people, lovely people, had fun with them all weekend. Those are some great people over there at Anime After Dark. Anime After Dark, their panel had started almost 40 minutes late because DreamCon had allowed another panel before then. I believe it was a cosplay contest, but they had allowed that panel to extend on, and they were ushering people, trying to get people in and out of that panel. It took them 40 minutes to be able to get that out. And instead of getting that time back, that 40 minutes back, that panel was forced to end. They were getting told that they had to wrap things up. They had to get things done very, very quick. And that right there is like a slap into the face, because it's not their fault that the other panel had went so far over time and that they had so many people in there that it took them 40 minutes for all of us to people to be filed out and to be filed in for their panel, and for them to be cut short like that and to get constantly told either in their ears or in the back or in their back, somebody like letting them know all that, getting some hand signals to like, hey, you got to cut your panel short. That right there is a huge problem and a slap into the face. And I know that a bunch of other panels had this issue as well, which also, again, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the Smash tournament. Not the Smash tournament, the Mario Kart tournament. The Mario Kart tournament was originally, I believe, only supposed to be 2 hours, set for 2 hours. It probably would have taken longer because Mario Kart, like those games like that, tournaments are like longer times, but that was originally supposed to be started at 4, and then that thing didn't end up starting until like 5:30 with the amount of people trying to get pushed, like shoved in and out there as well, and the gaming director being upset that their time is being cut short. There's just a lot of things that when it came to these panels going overboard on time, other panels were getting punished as a result, and that's not something that you should be doing to your panels that, again, make the con. That is unacceptable, and I do hope that DreamCon can get that done better next year. And then the last thing is just Austin as a city itself. This kind of is DreamCon's problem, but kind of isn't. But Austin as a location, while it held the amount of people that it needed to hold, and there was a lot of stuff to do, Austin itself had like a lot of problems that people that attendees did not like. For example, 6th Street on Austin, there were a lot of drunk, homeless people, people doing drugs, hard drugs, and everything to be able to get through. There was just a lot of problems on that street in particular because that is the one that's been commonly named, and attendees were by that street and they felt unsafe by being over there, which is that close to the con. Also, Austin's roads in itself are terrible and awful to navigate. There was hardly any parking outside, and parking was expensive. Austin's road trying to get from one place to another was terrible. Just my experience with the roads. I had ordered a DoorDash order from Whataburger, and I didn't get my order until like an hour and a half later. Now this isn't the con's fault in this portion, but the city itself, there's so many, like, the roads are so bad, there's so many one ways, there's so many areas to not be able to access and turn, that people are playing in like a maze to be able to get around that, and there's like no parking anywhere, that a lot of the attendees just, they could not get to where they needed to go in either in time or just like in general, because you're going through a maze in that city. It's just very hard to get around and very awful to navigate. So that in itself, that city, while it was good for this year, I would like to hope that DreamCon kind of either doesn't go back to Austin anymore. That I wish that they go to a completely different place for next year. Suggestions to make the con better. I will easily say one of the first things is more security. More security would allow attendees to not only feel a bit more organized and feel like in a structured environment, but you would not have people that have access to different places being able to sneak around and get to wherever they wanted with like no harm or issues. That would not happen if there are more security and there's more staffing around that are being informed about what events are going on to be able to get this done. So that's definitely something that needs to be taken care of. Also, regarding the staff, keep the staff informed on all the panels and the infos. There were a lot of staff that, again, just did not know where stuff was, didn't know what events were going on. They were trying to properly line people up and they just couldn't get control. Give the staff more time to be able to familiarize themselves with the building, understand where stuff is and like where the layouts and everything needs to go. Work with the staff better to be able to help them understand what the con, like how the con is supposed to work, so that people can go to their right places that they're asking to go, and also that they can direct people into getting into these places safely without any cause or harm. The other one is making the badge matter from day one. If I'm going to pay $260 to be able to not only cut lines, but to be able to get a exclusive goodie bag with a bunch of stuff in it and everything, make that more known from day one. I should not have had to wait to day 2 to be able to finally feel that I can cut a line. I can cut through this long line because I have a platinum pass. I shouldn't have had to wait till day 2 to be able to do that. I also shouldn't have had to find out. I also shouldn't have had to find out from other attendees where to finally go to pick up my platinum goodie bag that came with a free t-shirt and some other stuff. That should have been something that DreamCon should have promoted a lot more and should have told people where to go to get their swag bags. So that's definitely something that I would say that needs to be kind of in the front, or that needs to be more known inside of the app on where to go, because that right there was something that day 1 I just did not enjoy. It just did not feel like I was going in like the right direction. Promote the panels. There's so many panels going on throughout the day that at some point, like, DreamCon needs a full social media team so that they can go around and properly promote all these panels. There were, I don't have the exact number, but there were, I believe, in total probably over 100 panels. Oh, definitely, I believe around like for the 3 days, I believe there was over 100 panels, and all of these panels, like, I don't believe I seen like out of the promotion for the entire weekend, I believe that anywhere between maybe 15 to 20 panels like got promoted out of that. And I feel like the panels that make the con deserve better. They need to be promoted as well, so they can also promote promote your product, promote the con itself. So DreamCon, if they need to hire a full staff of social media interns or team members to be able to go around to each of those different panels and go ahead and take pictures and actively promote it and tell people where to go, I would highly advise them to be able to go ahead and get that done and get that taken care of. And also allow the panels to be live streamed. Whether it be live streamed on their own Twitch channels, whether it be live streamed on Patreon, other streaming services, allow these panels to be able to be recorded so that people that aren't able to make it in time, there is still a way for them to be able to access that and gain that revenue. Help the panel creators be able to make revenue and also bring in more attention to their panel so that they can in turn also promote you. And then also don't punish the panels for your time crunching mistakes. You are the big con, and when anything goes over on time and you don't shut it down immediately, that it like goes over on time, like over there a lot of time, and you didn't go in and stop it, that's on you. If a panel is scheduled for 2 hours and you let that panel go 2 hours and 30 minutes, don't now punish the other panel that's supposed to come back in. They're supposed to get 2 hours, and now you only give them an hour or 30 and they're done. Don't punish that other panel because you didn't go in and have security go in and have security or the staff stop the panel on time. So don't punish these panels for going over their allotted time. Help the creators actually go in and like understand this is the time that they have. You cannot go over on this time. Once this time comes, we need you guys to get in and out so that we can get the other people in so that we can continue this process of moving smoothly along. And this just helps not only the attendees as well, but this helps the creators be able to feel their value with the con and want to come back more and promote the product. Final thoughts. So, DreamCon 2022 was my very first con. That was my very first con that I had ever gone to. 2022, I had went to Arlington, Texas, and I had the time of my life. 2023 was no exception. I went to that con just a few days ago, and not only did I have the time of my life, I met so many people. I met so many content creators. I got to market. I got to market my brand. I got to link up and do collabs with people. I really enjoyed being able to go ahead and say that I got the opportunity to network and I got the opportunity to enjoy the con. As a content creator, this will be a con that I will constantly tell people, especially my black creators. I will tell people, yo, if you want to go ahead and network or you want to grow your brand, come to DreamCon. DreamCon is the con for you to be able to network, meet these bigger creators, get in good graces with them, being able to collab, not even just with the other creators, small creators as well, small creators working up together to collab or even create something amazing as well. This is the con for that. And I will say that I will be back next year. I will be trying to continue to go for as long as I am still interested in the con and as long as I am still interested in doing YouTube as well. This is definitely a learning experience that I will say for RDC, that this sudden influx of guests is something that they need to properly prepare for next year. I would personally advise them to not grow the con for next year. I would say keep it at 22,000 people. Just make sure that the security and staffing is on point. Make sure that everybody is able to get in and out safely and there's no issues or problems. Promote the panels. Make this a smooth sailing next year, so that now that you have the foundation and the basis, you can continue to expand more. DreamCon has grown so rapidly to the point where in the next few years, they will have to get out of Texas. You will have to start having your panels in DC or New York or LA and California. They're going to get to the point where they're going to have to do that because they're growing at such a rapid pace. So I will say that try to keep the con where it is. Even though I'm not a big fan of Austin, I would definitely prefer if you do something maybe like Houston. I have heard Houston's like a really good spot. If you're going to keep it in Texas, is somewhere to go. That's been something that's been thrown out a lot. But if you're going to keep it in Texas, I would not prefer Austin again, because Austin itself, wow, they had some good food spots and I think they had some great nightlife. I just did not like the city roads and being able to navigate in and out of the city itself. It just caused a internal headache for me. So I would say Houston would be I heard Houston's a really good spot. I would say if they can go to Houston next year, that would be great. But all in all, DreamCon 2023, if you are a creator, I will say for sure continue. If you have been to this con, continue to go. If you have not been, definitely you will want to go next year. You definitely want to hop in line and get that done. One last thing that I forgot to mention was Growtix, their website. I do hope that Growtix is not being used anymore. This is the last year that their partnership ends. I hope it is. That website, there were a bunch of people that said that they were not able to get in and out of that website. They weren't able to navigate. They weren't able to buy their tickets. They kept waiting in these long queues and just everything felt sold out, and it was just a terrible time getting in and out. I do hope that DreamCon does use a better ticketing system next year, because there are people that want to go, and I know that they might expand a little bit more next year. Maybe not too much, but maybe let's say they go from 22,000 to 25,000 to get 3,000 more people in there. And at something like that, you're going to have to, at some point, you have to use a better ticketing system so that people can be able to buy tickets and they can have access to the con. So I will say that is something that I would recommend they do, is fix that as well. Otherwise, DreamCon as a content creator has been a successful weekend. I've had fun. I've got some collabs that I've done. I got a video that I will be releasing later in the week, because that is something that I do want to get taken care of and get done. I do want this DreamCon video to be uploaded and have the utmost fun, so that will be something I will take a look at as well. I've already done a collab with my friend Afroboy YT. We've already done an IRL skit that has been uploaded on Twitter and YouTube as well. So if you want to go check it out, Afroboy YT, me and Afroboy, we made a great skit, and I cannot wait for that. Otherwise, the panels were really, really good. The people there, meeting a bunch of new people, were amazing. I will say, if you came up there just to meet your favorite creator, you were gonna be disappointed, because there was so much stuff to do. And while I get you can pay $260 and that is your goal, there is so much stuff to do that you should not feel that you had a terrible weekend just because you waited 20 hours throughout that whole time to meet your favorite creator and you just couldn't get through them because security had to escort them everywhere and you guys all bombarded them. So Other than that, my name is Y2 Shadows. If you guys have more thoughts about the con down below, definitely let me know. Definitely let me know about anything that I missed. I do want to hear about all the feedback as well, because I know that I wasn't the only one who went, so I do want to hear you guys' constructive criticism as well. So definitely know how you guys experienced the con, whether it's good, bad, your suggestions for getting the con done, upgraded as well. But in the meantime, my name is Y2 Shadows. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.